Hi, I'm Julie Cefalu, and today I'm going to be showing you how to do turned edge applique, and we're going to be using the ApliQuick tools. So let me show you what you're going to need to do this. So I've printed out my applique pattern, and when you print it out, make sure you print it out at actual size, and there's a 1-inch square here that you can check to make sure that it's correctly sized. And then I have some Select Print and Piece Fuse Light from Quilters Select. This is a foundation paper. Then I've got a glue pen by Charisma. I've got my Karen K. Buckley Perfect Scissors. These are the ApliQuick tools. There's 2 of them. One has a forked edge and the other one has, turn this around, has a flat edge on it. And then I've got a pencil. And I'm also working on a mat that's kind of an anti-slip mat, but you could use freezer paper as well for this technique. And then I've got my fabric, and that's all you need. The first thing we're going to do is trace our leaf shape onto the fusible stabilizer, and I'm going to be tracing it onto the non-fusible side, but you could trace it onto either side. It doesn't matter, it just depends on whether your image needs to be reversed or not. And this is a symmetrical image, so it really doesn't matter. And we're going to just trace that exactly as you see it. And then we're going to cut that shape out right on the line. So when you cut it out, it's really important that you take your time, because this is going to be the shape of your final product. So do a nice job here. And then once you have it cut out, it is ready to be fused onto your fabric. So here's my fabric. You want to make sure you fuse it onto the wrong side of your fabric, and this is the shiny side, that's the fusible side. So we put that there and fuse that in place. It just takes a couple of seconds with a hot iron. And then here we go. Here's my shape fused in place, and I'm going to cut it out with a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance. And I just love these scissors because they really grip the fabric as you're cutting it out. And it's got a micro serrated edge, so it does a really good job for this. Okay, there is my leaf. And the next thing we're going to do is paint the raw edge, the selvage, with my glue stick. So I'm going to just get some glue stick here on one side. And now I'm going to use my tools to turn that edge over. So this edge of the tool is going to hold my leaf shape in place. And then this side of this other tool right here, that flat edge, is going to help me turn that fabric over the edge of my stabilizer here. So I'm going to start down here, and I'm going to use my tool, and I'm just going to turn that over and push it down and keep going along the edge. This is a nice easy shape because the curve is very gentle, so you don't really need to worry about getting any tucks or puckers in there. It should just be nice and smooth and even. And we're going to work all the way down the edge. Okay, there's the first side. If you find that you have a little point here, or you need to smooth this out, you can use the flat edge of this tool right here and get it smooth. I could even bring it in underneath here and push it out if I needed to. But right now it looks pretty good just the way it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. So let's turn that around. And I'm going to show you two different ways to handle the points on this particular shape. So again, I'm going to get my glue stick and we're going to glue right in here. And this is a water-soluble glue stick, so eventually it will go away. So for this first tip right here, I'm going to take my my seam allowance and I'm going to flip it right, so let me just show you on this side. The point of my leaf is right about here. I'm going to take that seam allowance and just push it right there. So the folded edge of my seam allowance is there, kind of along the edge of the shape of my leaf. And then I'm going to put another bit of glue right here because I'm going to flip that over this way now. So let me get my glue stick. And take my tool. I'm just going to turn that over like that, and then I'm just going to keep working my way down the rest of the shape. And now when I get to this side, I'm going to do something different because I just want to show you there's two different ways to do this. On this one, I'm going to actually turn my seam allowance all the way over and just let it hang off the edge, so I have a little point there. And I'm going to mush that down, and I'll turn this over so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so here's the edge up here that I've got all of my seam allowance is tucked underneath that point. And down here on this side, this point, I could at this point now tuck it back underneath. I'll have to do it from this side. I could tuck it back underneath like that, or you could actually just cut that, and I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to just cut the excess like that. So let me show you what it looks like from the back. It looks like that, and from the front. This is a little bit less bulky on this point. However, you do have a little bit of exposed fabric at the very tip that could fray. You could put a little fray check on there. When you're appliquing this down, you could just make sure that you get that edge nice and secure with your thread. But both of those ways will work really well for this little leaf shape. Next, we're going to tackle the center circle of this flower. So I've traced that circle onto my fusible stabilizer, and that circle is about the size of a nickel, a little bit smaller. So I've fused it onto my fabric, and I've cut it out with a scant 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'm going to glue that seam allowance. I'll glue a little bit more than half. And I'm going to take my tool. So the pronged tool is going to hold that in place, and then the flat edge of the other tool is going to wrap that fabric over. So I'm going to start here and wrap that down. And then as I go around this circle, I'm going to be taking some little tucks that will eventually, they're kind of still raised here towards the center, but out here at the edge it's nice and flat. So you can see I've got these little tucks right here, but that outside edge is nice and smooth. So let me go ahead and glue the rest of that circle. Just the outside selvage, or raw edge. Seam allowance, that's what I want to say. Okay, we'll keep on going. And if you end up getting a little pokey out here at the edge, we can always smooth it out. Keep going all the way around. Now I've got to the to the beginning, so I'm going to just get my tool down underneath there and open it up so that I can close it without having a little pokey. So I have a little one right there. I'm just going to smooth it out. And you just use the edge of your tool to get it nice and flat and smooth. And now I can go ahead and really push all of this seam allowance down so that I've got a nice circle, and we can turn it over and see what it looks like. There you go. If there's anything you don't like what you see, you can always smooth it out some more until it's just right. Now I'm ready to build my flower, and I've got some parchment paper here that is nice because it's see-through, so I can see my flower shape underneath it, and it's a non-stick surface, so nothing really sticks to it. So I've placed my petals here underneath that center circle, and I've got one more petal to put down there, and I'm going to put this in place using some Roxanne's Glue Based It. One thing I want to point out real quick before I do that is the nice thing about this product, about the fusible stabilizer, is that you don't need to take it out. It is going to soften, and it's water soluble, so you can leave it in there. You don't have to worry about yanking that out, so that's going to stay put. Now I'm going to put this petal underneath my center circle, and what I found is that it's getting kind of bulky underneath that circle, so I'm going to go ahead and cut the tip off of this so it's just roomier in there. And this is a good chance for you to pick which tip that you want to pick out if you've got, or cut off. If you've got one that you weren't real happy with, that one is getting snipped. So there I go, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue right here at the edge, and we're going to slip that underneath the circle, and you can press that in place, or I'm just going to use my finger to get that to stay. And then I've got my flower, and it's built here, and then I can take my flower and place it on my project wherever it needs to be. Again, I could use the Roxanne's Glue Based It to get it to stay on my background fabric, and then you'll be ready to either hand applique or machine applique this flower in place.